Hi, and welcome to the presentation that will enlighten you about a subject you all not yet be familiar with, technology transfer systems. This presentation has been created for the course Global Technology Exploration, which is part of the Technology Management Master's Program at Lund University. In order to set the scene and catch your interest for the next couple of minutes, we will present you a comparative study between Lund University in Sweden and Zhejiang University in China.
This is the fourth collaboration between Group number 5 and 6 since 2013. Both groups consist of engineering and business students with a different field of expertise. The interdisciplinary nature of the group has contributed to a report with a diversity of aspects and conclusions we hope you will appreciate and learn from.
In the next couple of minutes, we will take you through the exciting world of technology transfer systems. But first, let us start by introducing the concepts technology transfer and technology transfer offices, continuing with the research question and purpose. Later, you will be provided with the basic process of technology transfer in order for you all to understand how it all works. Thereafter, you will be guided through Lund University's work with technology transfer and thereafter Zhejiang University's. In order for you all to really understand and compare the two universities' work with technology transfer, we will provide you with an analysis and lastly, a conclusion of the report.
Now you may ask yourself, what is a TTO and what does it stand for? TTO stands for Technology Transfer Office and is more or less an office that supports different stages of technology transfer. Technology transfer is a process that implies the whole life cycle of an idea, from the starting point where an idea is thought of until its last stage, usually commercialization. The challenge for an inventor often lies in the process of commercializing an idea. How do you actually make a profit from an idea you're contemplating? Well, luck for you, a TTO at your nearest university could help you with what could be the idea of the century.
The research question leading this study is, what differences and similarities can be found between TTOs in China and Sweden regarding the following aspects: context, structure, and financing? And you may also wonder why we're doing this. Well, the purpose with this report is to contribute to existing literature within technology transfer systems by providing insights regarding what kind of differences and similarities that can be found between Swedish and Chinese TTOs.
In order to illustrate the different phases of the innovation process, we will guide you through the diagram shown on the screen. As you can see, it starts off with the Transfer Technology Office doing an oversight. Step 1 is to secure funding in order to guarantee the financial future of the research. Lack of funds could harm the process. Step 2 of the first phase is to complete the research in order to start with the operative part of commercializing the idea emerging from the research. Remember that at this phase, the Technology Transfer Office is yet not bound to anything. No contract has yet been signed.
Second phase is the TTO's most important function. In this phase, the office looks at innovation disclosure. In other words, sign an agreement with an inventor which confirms the collaboration between the inventor and the office. The office also helps the inventor to evaluate the invention from a patenting and commercialization point of view. If the idea gets the green light, then the TTO carries out the process of applying for a patent. If the patent application is accepted, the TTO starts an active process in finding partners that could be of interest in the invention and hopefully willing to invest or collaborate around the invention. Another path to go is the startup way, which basically means starting a company that can commercialize the invention itself. The TTO supports the startup through active identification of the important stakeholders and helps with negotiating advantageous agreements.
Now let's discuss about the different factors that affect technology transfer. Reward systems such as royalty and equity distribution alongside with promotion policies are often presented as a positive effect driving new technology available for commercialization. In other words, the more a reward system is put into place, the more inventors turn to TTOs and the more technologies are reaching commercialization point. Reward systems also work as an incentive for researchers. Further, it is important to understand the reward mechanism of intellectual property management by clarifying things such as who owns what.
The staffing and organizational structure of the TTOs are additionally two important factors to have in mind when looking at efficiency and success rate of TTOs. Research claim it's beneficial for technology transfer to be decentralized as much as possible for the universities and public authorities, as it offers increased autonomy for both the universities and the TTOs to work more freely with the industry.
Now, how about Lund University? Lund University was founded in 1666 in Lund, Sweden. The university has grown to become the largest university in Sweden and is ranked as number 5 in Sweden and number 123 in the entire world. In 2009, the Lund University Innovation System was established, in its present form as the Technology Transfer Office of Lund University. Its main function is to help researchers making use of innovation, which is mainly done through commercialization. Also, they provide free advice and help with developing the research idea, business consulting, patents, law, and finance.
When it comes to intellectual property rights in Sweden, there is a special law stating that the patent of an invention rightfully belongs to the inventor. Once the application is approved by the Swedish IPR authorities, the individual registered on the patent owns the right of commercialization and development. Therefore, the main incentive given to entrepreneurs and researchers is the fact that they own their idea by law. The aspiration from society to make use of new ideas also function as an incentive for entrepreneurs and researchers.
In Sweden, a characteristic feature of the technology transfer offices is that the process starts from an already generated idea, while in many other countries the process starts from a market need. So, technology transfer offices are normally involved in the idea generation process, which is not the case in Sweden. This is because of the unique patent legislation in Sweden, which we just talked about.
To get the ideas into the market, Lund University Innovation System cooperates closely with the industry and is closely tied to the university and the region. However, the government does not have a central organization for technology transfer in Sweden. Instead, there is a trade organization for all parties working with innovation systems in Sweden. This organization is mostly working with knowledge transfer and other educational activities for its members, with the main goal of creating and facilitating a network.
Now, let's look a little bit closer to China and Zhejiang University. Zhejiang University is a top-ranked university in China, founded in 1897. Since the 1990s, several Chinese universities have established offices commercializing science and technology developments. Looking further at Zhejiang University is on top of its league in terms of publishing papers, patenting, and getting revenues from spin-offs.
Looking closer at the technology transfer offices at Zhejiang University, we can see a clear structure having its starting point at the SciTech Academy of Zhejiang University. The department operates freely but has a clear mission of meeting demands from both the state and the region in the field of leading-edge technology. It is of interest to mention that Zhejiang University holds great interest in working towards a structure that welcomes foreign cooperation. This by networking and cooperating with foreign universities and research centers.
A special feature of Chinese TTOs is the existence of university-owned enterprises originating from TTO's work. Many of these enterprises are still controlled by the university as they have been the main source of funding. Looking further into the structure, one can also see the many possibilities that arises from the innovation infrastructure. For instance, it is not uncommon that external companies make use of the scientist platform and ask to hire these scientists as technical advisors or consultants. An incentive program is offered to researchers where intellectual property rights courses are held alongside with financial support regarding patent application.
When looking at Zhejiang University, we can see a close cooperation with both the region and the industry. This is because the TTO has the aim to fill the technical needs of the region. Usually, the governments are the ones who are requesting solutions and requirements that the TTOs should fulfill, creating a pull effect.
It is of importance to mention that research encourages decentralization, which means that TTO are encouraged to work freely or at least independently from governments to optimize their work. This also allows more prosperous relation with the industry. Lund has a more decentralized TTO, which in theory implies greater possibilities to engage with industries than Zhejiang's TTO. This also implies poorer technology transfer.
Now, let us look at the differences when it comes to the actual process held by the TTOs. The TTO in Zhejiang is involved very early, and employment between the TTO and the industry is very common. Additionally, Zhejiang's TTO works actively towards international cooperation, while Lund's TTO is not as inclined to work with foreign partners.
So, what are the incentives? For researchers at Zhejiang TTO, the incentives vary. One main incentive is the chance of employment. Another one is financing the patent application. However, the patent will not belong to the researcher. Instead, it will be the property of the university. This is different from Lund's TTO, where the main objective for the researcher might be to get the patent right and the chance of earning money from that, since the researcher is the owner of patent in Sweden.
At last, it is of interest to investigate the financial structure of both TTOs. The Zhejiang TTO often creates university-owned enterprises after the commercialization is completed with long-term interest. The government can also fund projects and are usually the main source of capital. This is a difference from Lund's TTO. Although they have the opportunity of taking ownership of the companies created through their holding company, these are only supposed to be short-term investments.
So, what can we conclude from this study then? Well, the mission for both technology transfer offices seems to be the same, which is to commercialize new ideas and invention. Both TTOs work closely with the industry, while the Zhejiang office has a closer collaboration with the government than the Lund office has. Also, both technology transfer offices have the opportunity to invest in startups if they believe the invention is to be successful.
The quest is similar for the two technology transfer offices, but the way of reaching their goal is different. In Zhejiang, the starting point begins with the industry and governmental needs, while in Lund, it starts with an idea or an invention. Also, the government has a key role deciding which inventions reach markets at Zhejiang office, while the Lund office has more independence.
On behalf of Group 5 and 6, we would like to thank you for your time and attention.